It's Wednesday, July 15th, and this is now on HNN.
We're serving multiple search warrants, multiple arrest warrants.
The FBI carries out a massive operation on Oahu to arrest a businessman accused of murder.
Concerns grow over schools reopening following the news of a COVID-19 case at a summer fun program.
We know how important it is for our students to begin to relearn again.
A year ago today, protesters blocked the start of construction of the 30-meter telescope on Mauna Kea. We have an update on the project's plans for the year.
It's a new kind of fashion statement, one that claims to offer an extra layer of protection from the coronavirus. I'm Michael George, and I'll show you some of the inventions designed to prevent infection.
These stories, plus another unusual collaboration for Nike, coming up on This Is Now. Good afternoon. Thanks for having lunch with us here at This Is Now. I'm Jonathan, your director-producer, alongside Ashley. We got so much news to get to today, but we begin with the latest numbers from the Department of Health.
Hey everyone, health officials are reporting 29 new COVID-19 cases today. The breakdown shows 27 patients are on Oahu and 2 are on the Big Island. DOH says the majority of new cases are a result of community spread and linked to previous cases. The statewide total now stands at 1,292. One case was removed from the statewide count after updated data, and more than 70% of patients have recovered from their symptoms. And to developing news now, the FBI carried out a massive operation across parts of Oahu to arrest a Hawaii businessman. Our chief investigative reporter, Lynn Kuana, was there and brings us this report.
The FBI flew in dozens of agents for this operation, including a SWAT team from Quantico, Virginia. This morning, several locations were hit, including this home in Kailua, where businessman Mike Miskey was arrested on a warrant for multiple charges that include murder. This is video of Miskey being put into a car and heading to the federal detention center. This stems from a case involving missing man Jonathan Frazier, who was in a car accident with Miskey's son, Caleb Miskey. Caleb died of his injuries in March of 2016. Frazier recovered but went missing in July of 2016.
We, the men and women of the FBI Honolulu Division, is out and about in the community today on the island of Oahu. We're serving multiple search warrants, multiple arrest warrants. The investigation is ongoing, but we're just out here trying to make the community a safer place today.
The FBI is not confirming these raids are the result of that investigation or who they arrested. Sources say this is a result of a grand jury indictment. We'll have much more on this story on later newscasts today, as well as our website, hawaiinewsnow.com. I'm Lynn Kawano, Hawaii News Now.
Thank you, Lynn. And we just got these new details. The 22-count indictment has an outrageous list of charges, including murder, like Lynn mentioned, conspiracy to murder, murder for hire, kidnapping resulting in death, even the alleged use of a chemical weapon. We'll hear more about the case from U.S. Attorney Kenji Price at a 1 p.m. press conference.
Health officials, school leaders, and some parents say it's time to send kids back to school. But weeks before the start of the fall semester, an infection at a summer fun program is raising concerns. Here's Chelsea Davis with more.
A student at Kama'aina Kids tested positive for the virus on Saturday. The case is an eye-opener for many people. If one infected child can shut down the program for 2 weeks, what happens when cases start popping up in the schools?
It's still unclear how many of Hawaii's 180,000 public school students will return to in-person class on August 4th. Those who do will have to follow new safety rules, just like the summer fun program at Kama'aina Kids in Aiea.
We also have the kids in what's called an ohana bubble. And so we try to segregate the groups as much as possible so that there's no interaction between groups.
But that still didn't prevent a 6-year-old from getting the virus from his mother. The program at St. Timothy's Church is now shut down, and 44 kids and staffers are on a 2-week quarantine. It's a clear example for those who think school should not reopen.
I'm not in favor. I think one child not even dying, but even getting sick is way too much to risk.
Here's some perspective. Back on March 15th, when the DOE extended spring break, there were 7 total coronavirus cases in Hawaii. Today, there are 321 active cases. The governor has been cautious, delaying the restart of tourism until September. But he says he's confident in the DOE's plan to reopen schools.
We know how important it is for our students to begin to relearn again, to get into that learning environment. We know that there are many challenges if the schools don't open with childcare.
The governor says freeing up parents to get back to work is one of the main factors the state is trying to balance. A survey showed most students didn't take part in distance learning this past spring. To get them back to class, schools are planning for more hand washing, masks, temperature checks, and smaller classes to limit student contact. Some parents wish they could all just stay outside.
They benefit so much being outside, just looking outside and feeling, being in nature and the winds and feeling the sun, and there's so much research that talks about how it's fabulous for learning to be outside.
The DOE says since we're currently operating under the Act with Care level reopening, they're cleared to open with physical distancing and safe practices. The spokesperson said if that level changes, they will reevaluate. Chelsea Davis, Hawaii News Now.
Lieutenant Governor Josh Green had sharp criticism for the state health department, saying they need to do a better job at tracing the outbreaks. We talked to him on Sunrise this morning.
Now, Dr. Green, you agreed with this move from the governor to push back the tourism date.
I did. Things were surging. COVID was surging on the mainland. We have to put health first, absolutely. And this gives us an extra month to get things ready with a digital system to track the cases, to make sure everything is safe, to really get the tests in place no matter what. So you can't put safety second, although I do really worry about people over time, whether they're housing insecure or food insecure.
So let's talk about that digital database a little bit, because the idea being that right now for inter-island travelers, you fill out that form, and I know Dr. Park said she wanted that digitized. It'd be the same for trans-Pacific travelers. How does that work, and does that work with the app that they've been talking about?
Yeah, they're trying to make it seamless because, one, they want a lot of public health information, and two, they want people to be able to be quarantined and tracked very carefully by the mayors. The mayors were very deliberate about their requests, and I really respect that. We have to do better on the quarantine. Frankly, we should have quarantine hotels so that there can be no leakage whatsoever. But each of these things, as Dr. Mugiishi said, it's like building an airplane while you're trying to fly it. So there's some challenges, but we should do some basic things. We should up our game on contact tracing. We are making some mistakes there, and I want to see that improve.
What sort of mistakes do you think we are making through contact tracing? Because we know this has been really ramping up in recent weeks, but it seems like there are more and more cases and clusters where we have no idea where these people were infected.
That's right. So I hear a lot of excuses from Dr. Park about how we have people here on part-time, how difficult it is. Sure, it's difficult as heck to do this job, but this is the only game in town if you really look at it, because let's break this down. If you can't contact trace people and find out who they've been in contact with, then you can't track the next wave of disease. If you can't do that, you don't know where to put your healthcare positioned assets, and you also will never be able to get to a place where people feel safe, or we can open up the economy, or we can make sure that our kupuna are safe. So I don't want to hear any more excuses from her about this. I want us to have 500 full-time tracers. That's what the Senate and the House have asked for. That's what we've appropriated monies for. It has to be done. I'm very sympathetic of how hard the work is, but when you tell me that there's a bunch of people doing it part-time and maybe some people from Department of Health are devoted to it, look, it has to be done. We should look under every rock and around every palm tree to find where COVID is.
So contact tracing is one issue. Another would be quarantine violators. We spoke with Congressman Ed Case earlier this week, and he says that it's rampant right now, and he's worried about what's going to happen once you open up to transpac tourists. Do you have any solutions for that, or working on a plan?
Yeah, I've been making recommendations that we actually engage the process of having full quarantine hotels. So quarantine hotels would be somewhere we could actually enforce it. It is apparently legal. We have to have a category of hotels that people would go to if they didn't successfully have that negative test. Frankly, it's the only way you're really going to ever lock down, because you know how many people go to illegal bed and breakfasts that have been allowed to operate for years. You know how many people will tell you they're moving here if they're not really moving here. And we also know people are just human. They're going to try to escape into paradise once they've got here. They don't know that we're going to actually fine them $5,000 or give them a year in jail, which is really hard to do. So I think quarantine hotels make a lot of sense, but no matter what, it's got to be layer on top of layer on top of layer to keep our people safe.
Governor Ige has confirmed that his own mother lives at a nursing home where several of the residents and staff members have been infected by the virus.
I think all of us know someone who's vulnerable, who we know would struggle if they became infected, and clearly we want to hang on to our loved ones for as long as we can.
The state has not yet revealed the name of that nursing home. We're told residents are under quarantine there and visitors are not allowed in, as doctors await the results of mass testing. The governor really didn't want to share much about this, but he did tell us his mom is doing well.
Oahu bars now have to stop serving alcohol at midnight under a new mandate requested by the mayor and approved by the governor. It comes after multiple complaints about bars not enforcing social distancing and face covering rules, and those who have been following the guidelines all along say they're disappointed because every dollar counts right now.
It's somewhat unfair to kind of bubble everybody into the same group. We understand that there are a lot of businesses out there that are struggling, and they might push the envelope. And I get it. We get it. Everyone is really in a tough spot. But I think for us, safety, even before COVID, it's been number one for us.
To target those businesses that are blatantly breaking the rules, Mayor Caldwell says the governor also approved his request to give Honolulu Police and the Liquor Commission the authority to shut down a bar for 24 hours.
Our Liquor Commission has been going out and inspecting and seeing in certain situations hundreds of people at bars. We believe that people, as they hang around a bar for a long period of time and drink alcohol, they get more lax.
Caldwell says he will consider moving the cutoff time for alcohol sales up to 10 p.m. if the situation doesn't improve. The state has not said any recent clusters are linked to bars.
It was 1 year ago today that construction was supposed to begin on TMT, but opponents blocked the way. I was there documenting this historic event, and I put together this little video.
We are at a standstill in a sense for the time being.
The continued blockage of the road is a concern.
It is a risk and a wrench for us to have to step away to this point.
We're going to have differences, and I know.
I never dreamt I was going to find myself in handcuffs in a paddy wagon one day.
The protesters continue to break the law.
I will try my damage to be better.
For me, this is the most serious stand.
One day for Mauna. Tomorrow we will continue.
We have a lot of support here.
We were not going to just stand to the side. We're not going to just sing songs and watch these trucks drive by.
It's going to create a lot of jobs. We can feel the wave building and getting bigger and bigger.
This is so much bigger than a telescope being built. This is humanity. These are human beings whose hearts are hurting.
TMT now tells us there will be no construction on the mountain this year. This morning on Sunrise, we talked to people on both sides of the debate about what still lies ahead.
This delay has increased the cost of our project from about a $1.4 billion project to about $2.4 billion project. Now, that's costs on us. I think it's important to understand we're not a publicly funded project by the taxpayers in Hawaii. We're funded by the partners in TIO, so that's costs we assume. And I'll tell you, we still think at that price tag that this observatory is a bargain for all it's going to do for the people of Hawaii and for the people of the world as we understand our place in the universe. And if I may, I'd like to, the challenge on us is to get going, and we're going to be working on that. And as I said, trying to create some jobs this year, even before we can do some work on site. I guess the challenge I would give to our neighbors in Hawaii is to use this time really to examine the project. We've heard time and time again that over 90% of people in Hawaii believe that astronomy and culture live together on Mauna Kea. And over 80% of the people in Hawaii are saying that these issues, the protests, are not at all about TMT.
I think the compromise is not with TMT. The project is just simply too large. And I know that there are a lot of statistics that Gordon and the project refer to. I think those statistics or those comments that he makes are a little skewed. I don't believe that 92% of the community believes as he does. I think that their most recent 500-person poll is grossly exaggerated. I do believe, though, that if TMT goes away, then we can have a conversation about the fact that there are 8 telescopes that are already there and 5 that are supposed to be decommissioned that are not being decommissioned in a very efficient way. And there can be a discussion about that. But the one thing I remind everybody is the university only has a lease until 2033. They keep talking about 50 years more on the Mauna. They don't have 50 years. By my calculation, 2033 is just around the corner. And under the current rules, all of the 8 facilities up there, the observatories, have to start thinking about decommissioning, because it's going to take 5 years to completely decommission one of those large observatories. So there's a lot to be discussed.
Mega banks are stripping billions from their quarterly profits and bracing for a wave of loan defaults. Howard Dykes explains.
This is if and when, as JP Morgan's James Dimon says, this is not your normal recession. He set $10 billion aside. Citigroup, $8 billion. Wells Fargo, $9 billion, causing its first loss in a decade, by the way. Moderna stock soared this morning after testing a COVID vaccine and all 45 patients improved. A broader trial starts soon. OPEC is meeting, crude oil prices slipping back below $43 a barrel. Qantas plans to ground all international routes except New Zealand through next March. Boeing got 183 jet order cancellations just in June, an unprecedented plunge in its business. Despite that, the Fed reports 7% more factory production in June, a good sign if that keeps up. And House Oversight meets on Friday on the economy, witnesses the last 2 Fed heads, Janet Yellen and Ben Bernanke.
Thank you, Howard, for that update. We want to get you a check of the time, which is 12:17, and take you outside live. Look there at Aloha Tower, where the temperature is now 83 degrees. I'm hearing there's a chance of rain come Friday. Here's Guy Hoggy with an update.
How's it on this Wednesday? I'm Guy Hoggy with your HawaiiNewsNow.com forecast. A band of high clouds stretching over the state, slowly pulling away to the east. So that means it's going to be a little cloudy for the half of the day, at least for the eastern half of the state. And there won't be a whole lot of rain. Drier conditions have taken over. And the trade winds will slow down today. Still might be a little breezy for Maui County. Definitely slower winds over in Kailua Kona. And that's why they will get afternoon clouds and some afternoon showers. Otherwise, we'll see a fair day today with lots of afternoon sunshine for leeward sides. There might be a few light passing showers, but really rain's not an issue until Friday. That's when we expect another boost in the rain. And those trade winds slowing down to 10 to 15 today, running light and variable for the next couple of days. Now, as far as the surf, there's going to be a little boost today coming into east shores. That's the swell generated by the old tropical storm Christina. Otherwise, it's going to be really small. And south shores, 3 feet or less, and there's going to be box jelly if you're swimming around. So check with lifeguards before jumping into the ocean. So nice steady trade winds today, light and variable winds to Thursday and Friday. That will lead to higher humidity levels and some sticky conditions, maybe some spinners Thursday and Friday as well. And also on Friday, the increasing windward and Mauka showers, breezy winds due back in over the weekend. Keep it here on Hawaii News Now. We'll have all your severe weather updates.
Thank you for that update, Guy. We want to get a check of what the internet is talking about right now. It's from the feeds. Here's what I found. Nike's got another unusual collaboration. Remember the one they did with Ben & Jerry's?
Right.
Well, now they've teamed up with the Grateful Dead. The shoe is called the Nike SB Dunk Low Grateful Dead. I don't know. It's a part of their skateboarder line, and it includes the band's Dancing Bears and the Skull logo. Everyone knows that. And the swoosh, you saw it there. It has sort of that outline, that rugged outline, like the bear's collar. They're selling for $110. I like them.
That is something you could totally rock, Jonathan.
I think so.
Yeah.
I like the Ben and Jerry one too. So. What'd you find out?
So this is really interesting. New research suggests the moon is actually younger than we thought. Scientists generally agree that the moon was formed from debris when an ancient planet collided with Earth billions of years ago. However, there has been a disagreement about when the event actually happened. Previous estimations put the moon's age at 4.51 billion years, but a new report published recently in the scientific journal Science Advances suggests the moon was formed 4.425 billion years ago. That would make it 85 million years younger than previously thought.
When you read that intro, I thought you said new research finds that Jonathan is younger than first thought. I would take that.
You wish.
I do wish. All right, one more big announcement. This is on their H&N feeds, right?
That's right. After debuting This Is Now on KHNL TV last month, Hawaii News Now is again expanding its TV news coverage with the launch of a 4 p.m. newscast on September 7th. The 1-hour show, which will air weekdays on KHNL, will be anchored by me and Mark Carpenter, who just moved back home after working in the Bay Area for several years. We'll bring you the latest local, national, and international headlines, and meteorologist Jennifer Robbins will have your weather forecast.
Can't wait.
Yeah, and the coronavirus pandemic has led to a number of innovations. That includes new products meant to help us avoid the virus. Michael George has more.
These days, it's not only fashionable to wear a mask, protecting your hands inspired this accessory.
It's very simple. It stays on your wrist, you pull it down, and then you pull it back up.
Nicola Galati is president of the company that developed the glove. It comes in various colors and offers an antimicrobial barrier between your hands and surfaces.
It is washable, reusable, and so it's very sustainable.
If the glove isn't your style, a British inventor came up with the hygiene hook, which can be used to open or shut doors. This high-tech device keeps you from touching your mouth or face. The bracelet vibrates if you move your hands in that direction. And wearing a mask doesn't have to mean hiding your face. The company Clear Mask says its single-use plastic mask lets airflow on the sides and won't fog up. A business in Belgium is offering a different option, a mask with a picture of your face on it. The Cheesebox company uses a camera to capture the image and then prints it out. Customers can also use an app to take a photo and have the $22 mask delivered. Workers at a Brussels restaurant are sporting the look.
Les gens trouvent ça très amusant, ça les amuse.
Customers find it fun, this server says. It's also a way for people to protect and express themselves at the same time. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
That did not look like
We
her.
should get those masks. That hand sock, though? Really?
Yeah, really. I could cut the sock up and it could have made that one.
Yeah.
True.
And I love these stories. So a member of parliament in the UK was trying to participate in a virtual meeting, but his pet had other plans.
And the BBC are also now embracing this. Why, and I apologise for my cat's tail, why are you not doing this by default?
So John Nicholson's cat named Rojo upstaged him during a committee meeting yesterday. The cat refused to budge for a bit, but eventually cooperated.
So what are your thoughts about getting a news cat in here? I think that This Is Now set could use a little furry fringe.
I wouldn't be against it.
I definitely
Why not a
wouldn't
news
be
dog?
Oh, okay, we could. Or both. You take care of one, I'll take care of the other.
Deal.
All right, guys, got lots of news to get to this afternoon. 1 p.m. press conference regarding that is FBI operations. We're going to bring that to you live on our H&N digital platforms. And we'll also have a wrap-up of all the other news of the day coming up at 5 on KGMB and KHNL. You guys have a safe day out there this afternoon. We'll see you tomorrow.
Aloha.